All right, listen to me for a minute. Yeah, you. Good to see you here. Seriously, if you're hearing this, it's because whatever tried to erase you failed. So welcome back. Or maybe, welcome forward. Now let me ask you something, and don't dodge it. What the hell happened to you? Because this isn't growth. Don't insult it by calling it that. Growth is polite. Growth is something they clap for on LinkedIn. What you turned into is domination, raw, unapologetic, the kind that makes rooms go quiet when you step in. And yeah, they noticed. You remember how they used to look at you, right? Like you were manageable, like you were slow, or soft, or temporary. Like if they ignored you long enough, you'd just fold, disappear, get tired of trying. And maybe, you almost did. Maybe there were nights where you questioned yourself so hard, you started hearing their voices in your head instead of your own. But something snapped, not loudly, no movie moment, just a quiet internal click where you said, enough. And from that second on, you stopped explaining yourself. You stopped begging for understanding. You stopped waiting for permission. And that's when it got dangerous. See, they were prepared for your success. They were even prepared for your comeback. They had jokes ready, fake smiles, little backhanded compliments lined up like, wow, look at you, doing so well now. Yeah, they had a script for that. What they didn't plan for was you changing the rules. You didn't just improve, you recalibrated. Your pain stopped leaking out chaotically and started moving with precision. You learned when to stay silent, when to observe, when to let people underestimate you because, honestly, it made the final result sweeter. You started playing the long game while everyone else was still chasing applause, and now they're uncomfortable. Because domination doesn't ask to be liked. Domination doesn't explain itself. It just is. They feel it when you don't react like you used to. When the same comments don't pull the same emotional strings. When their opinions bounce off you like static. When you walk past opportunities you once would have killed for because your standards shifted upward without apology. They ask each other, when did you get like this? They whisper, you've changed. Yeah, you did. You changed because survival taught you what motivation never could. You changed because you learned the hard way that nobody was coming to save you. You changed because you got tired of explaining your worth to people who benefited from you doubting it. And now, here's the part they hate the most. You're not bitter. You're clear. Clear about who gets access. Clear about what you tolerate. Clear about how replaceable everything is except your self-respect. And that clarity, that's irreversible. They can't undo this. They can't drag you back to who you were, because that version of you no longer exists. Not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually. You burned that bridge yourself, stood there watching it collapse and felt relief instead of regret. They might try, though. Oh, they'll try. They'll bring up the past. They'll remind you of old mistakes. They'll act confused by your boundaries like, why are you acting so different? Because people who benefited from your chaos will always feel threatened by your discipline. You're not louder, you're sharper. You're not colder, you're focused. You're not arrogant. You finally see the game clearly. And the craziest part? You didn't even have to announce it. Your presence does the talking now. The way you move, the way you pause before responding, the way you don't rush to prove anything, the way success stopped being a fantasy and started being a byproduct. They sense it. That subtle pressure, that feeling like they're behind and you're not even running. See, domination isn't about crushing people. It's about outgrowing the environments that once controlled you. It's about becoming so internally anchored that external chaos loses leverage over you. It's about knowing that if everything collapsed tomorrow, you'd rebuild faster and smarter than before. You didn't become heartless. You became selective. You didn't lose compassion. You stopped wasting it. And yeah, maybe sometimes you look at your old self and feel weird about it. Maybe there's this moment, quiet, late at night, where you think, damn, I wouldn't even recognize me back then. Good. That means it worked, because the version of you they understood was the version they could control. And now, you operate beyond their reach, beyond their narratives, beyond their ability to rewrite your story. You're the proof that pressure doesn't always break people. Sometimes it forges them. Sometimes it strips away the softness that kept you stuck. Sometimes it reveals teeth you didn't know you had. So yeah, let them talk. Let them speculate. Let them feel uneasy around the confidence you carry so casually now. You didn't become this by accident. You didn't survive all that just to stay small. And you sure as hell didn't come this far to be reversible. They can't undo this. And the wild thing is, you're still just getting started, because once you've crossed that internal line, once you've tasted control over your own mindset, your own reactions, your own trajectory, you don't go back to hoping. You start deciding, and every move from here keeps stacking, keeps compounding, keeps applying pressure in ways they still don't fully understand. And honestly, that confusion, that's the sound of the balance shifting again, right now, while they're still trying to figure out what the hell happened to you. Because the moment you realize that, something else locked into place inside you, quiet but heavy, like weight settling where it was always supposed to be. And yeah, nobody warned you about that part. Nobody told you how lonely it feels at first when your old reactions don't show up anymore. When the nerves that used to hijack you just don't fire the same way. You feel it in conversations. Someone throws shade the way they used to and waits for the version of you that would flinch, explain, overtalk, fidget, justify your existence. And instead they get this pause, this calm, this look from you that says you already ran the numbers and the math isn't in their favor anymore. That pause messes with people way more than anger ever did. Because anger they understood. Anger made sense to them. Anger meant you were still reachable. This version of you, though, this one moves like you already accepted every possible outcome and chose power anyway. And deep down, that came from all those moments nobody saw. The times you sat alone, phone face down, replaying conversations that couldn't be fixed. The times you stared at the ceiling thinking, if this is all life is gonna be, I'm done playing nice. The times you realized that being misunderstood was cheaper than being drained every single day. You didn't wake up confident. You woke up tired. Tired enough to stop negotiating with discomfort. Tired enough to stop betraying yourself just to keep things smooth. And once that switch flipped, your whole body started acting different. Your walk changed. Your tone changed. Even your silence started saying things out loud. People sensed that shift immediately. They might not have known why, but they felt it in their chest the way prey notices when the air gets too quiet. The jokes around you changed. The energy changed. The invitations slowed down or suddenly felt conditional. And that's when it hit. You weren't being included anymore. You were being measured. Measured to see if you'd revert. Measured to see if this was a phase. Measured to see if pressure could still bend you sideways. But pressure is the thing that taught you how to stand upright. You learned discipline without calling it that. You learned restraint without reading about it. You learned how to let people talk themselves out while you kept your cards close, eyes open, mouth shut. You stopped broadcasting plans, stopped oversharing dreams, stopped telling people what you were building before the foundation could hold weight. Quiet became your favorite flex. And that silence, it wasn't empty, it was loaded. Every day you showed up, did the boring work, the unglamorous reps, the uncomfortable decisions. Every day you chose consistency over validation. Every day you said no to small comfort because future leverage mattered more. They didn't see that part. They just see results. That's what drives them nuts, because they're trying to reverse engineer you from the outside without acknowledging the internal war that made this inevitable. They don't want to admit that you paid for this version with doubt, isolation, and nights where optimism sounded fake as hell. They don't want to admit you earned the right to be sharp. And on some level, they know something else too. You're not seeking revenge. You're not trying to dominate them personally, which almost makes it worse. You're just operating at a frequency they can't touch. Your wins don't require their approval. Your losses don't require their pity. You stopped acting like you needed witnesses. And here's the wild part. Your nervous system adapted. Things that used to rattle you barely register. Chaos shows up and your brain doesn't spike. It scans. You don't react emotionally first anymore. You respond strategically. Even when things hurt, you feel it without letting it drive the car. That's not coldness. That's control. That's what happens when someone's been pushed past their breaking point, and instead of shattering, they reorganized. You didn't numb out. You sharpened in. You learned where your energy leaks were. You sealed them. You learned who thrives on your confusion. You removed their access quietly, without speeches, without dramatic exits. People noticed the absence before they noticed the boundaries. And the ones who used to have leverage, they feel it slipping every time you don't chase, don't explain, don't beg to be understood. They feel it when you make decisions faster, when your posture doesn't fold, when your eyes don't apologize. They feel it when you walk away from situations that once defined you, not because you lost, but because you outgrew the entire environment. Dominance doesn't scream. It rearranges the room, and you can feel it internally, too. That subtle confidence that doesn't spike or crash based on external stuff. The way your self-trust started replacing anxiety. The way you learned that peace isn't passive, it's enforced. The way you stopped confusing emotional attachment with loyalty. You don't commit to potential anymore. You commit to reality. Even your humor changed. Darker, sharper, less interested in pleasing, more interested in truth. You laugh at things that would have crushed you before. You recognize manipulation patterns in real time. You see games being played, and you don't even step onto the board. That's what scares them, because they realize they can't push the same buttons. The software update removed their permissions. They can throw old versions of you at the wall all day. It doesn't run anymore. You're operating from a place where even if everything falls apart, you know you won't collapse with it. That internal certainty is disruptive. It destabilizes weak hierarchies. It exposes fragile egos. It makes performative confidence look ridiculous. And the craziest thing, you're not even done evolving. You can feel that tension building again. Not desperation, but pressure before a further expansion. Like something else is lining up internally. Something heavier. Something that requires even less validation and even more precision. and the way you carry yourself lately already hints at it, in the pauses you take before committing, in the way you choose your battles, in the way your energy refuses to scatter anymore, in the way you hesitate for half a second longer than you used to, not out of fear but calculation, because you already know rushing is what kept you average before. You can feel that internal pressure reshaping you again, like your instincts are upgrading without asking for permission. You trust yourself differently. You don't second-guess every move anymore. You don't crowdsource confidence. You decide, and your body follows. That's why people feel off around you lately. They can't put their finger on it, but something about you stopped being predictable. You're not chasing reactions. You're not fishing for reassurance. You're not loading your pain into every conversation hoping someone notices. That silence you carry isn't empty. It's trained. You learned timing. You watch people talk themselves into corners while you sit there, head tilted slightly, half smile, eyes alert, already seeing 3 steps ahead. You see who cracks under pressure, who lies to stay comfortable, who folds when their mask slips just a little. Before, you absorbed all of that emotionally. It weighed on you, confused you, drained you, and then one day, you stopped personalizing other people's dysfunction. That was huge. That was the moment things tilted permanently in your favor. You realized their reactions weren't feedback. They were projections. Their criticism wasn't insight. It was insecurity trying to stabilize itself. Once you saw that, their words lost velocity. They still flew, but they didn't land. Your mind stopped being a crowded room, and with that clarity came momentum. Subtle at first. The way mornings didn't feel as heavy. The way anxiety stopped narrating every decision. The way you noticed yourself saying no without rehearsing it 12 times in your head. You didn't announce the shift. You embodied it. People who knew the old you feel that dissonance the hardest. They bring up shared memories, inside jokes, old dynamics, searching for access points that don't exist anymore. They say things like, "You're really different lately," with that strange mix of curiosity and discomfort. They're hoping you'll reassure them, hoping you'll soften, hoping you'll step back into the role that made sense to them. But your system doesn't recognize that role anymore. It's wild how fast respect shows up when tolerance leaves. Not admiration, respect. The quiet kind. The kind where people watch how they speak to you. The kind where subtleties matter. Where you notice who chooses their words more carefully around you. Who tests boundaries indirectly. Who suddenly gets very polite. That's not ego. That's consequence. You survived enough chaos to understand leverage. Emotional leverage, social leverage, internal leverage. You realized the real currency was self-control and consistency, not noise. And once you started stacking those daily, without applause, without witnesses, it changed how you occupy space. You feel heavier, grounded, like it would take effort to knock you over. Even when things don't go right, you don't spiral the way you used to. You adjust, you analyze, you adapt. Failure stopped feeling like a verdict and started feeling like data. That alone separates you from most people still stuck in reaction mode. They confuse confidence with loudness. You understand confidence as stability. There's a darker awareness in you too. Not destructive, realistic. You understand what you're capable of when pushed. You know how far your mind can go. You survived your own worst thoughts without letting them run the show. That awareness makes you calm in situations that shake others. You're not trying to dominate people directly. You're dominating your impulses, your time, your attention. And that's the kind of control nobody can take from you. They can question your tone. They can misunderstand your silence. They can twist your intentions. But they can't reach the internal operating system that runs you now. That's why even when you smile, there's depth behind it. Not fake depth. Earned depth. You've lived underground long enough to recognize hollow confidence from a mile away. You don't argue with it. You outlast it. Energy doesn't lie. And lately your energy walks into rooms before your words do. People adjust subconsciously. Conversations recalibrate. Power dynamics shift without announcement. You're not forcing control. You're occupying it. And the thing is, this version of you isn't even fueled by rage anymore. Rage was the ignition, yeah, but discipline is the engine. Patience is the steering wheel. Awareness is the brakes. You learned balance the hard way, not from a book, not from a quote, but from real pressure, real losses, real nights where giving up felt practical. Those nights rewired you. You stopped needing to prove you were right. You started needing to be effective. You stopped telling your story. You started writing outcomes. That shift alone erased the leverage people thought they had over you. They can't undo this. Because this isn't motivation, it's integration. This is what happens when pain gets processed instead of avoided, when lessons get installed instead of romanticized, when survival turns into intentional movement. And you can feel something else coming too. Not urgency, not chaos. Something steady building beneath the surface. Like your standards are about to rise again. Like access is about to narrow further. Like the next phase doesn't require louder confidence, just sharper decisions. And the way you're moving lately already reflects it. In the way you protect your energy. In the way you choose when to speak, in the way your silence keeps getting heavier, denser, more deliberate. Because you've started noticing how rarely your energy spikes anymore, how even intense moments don't hijack you the way they used to. It's like your emotional range didn't disappear, it upgraded. You still feel things, deeply. But nothing gets free access to the steering wheel. You decide what deserves bandwidth. That wasn't accidental. That came from every time you were overstimulated, overwhelmed, pushed past your limits, and realized the real threat wasn't the chaos outside. It was the lack of order inside. You didn't fix that with affirmations. You fixed it with boundaries that felt uncomfortable at first. With choices that pissed people off quietly, with walking away from stuff you once thought you needed to survive. And now, you can feel how much lighter you move without all that noise. People notice too. They comment on how chill you seem. They mistake composure for ease. They don't see the restraint behind it. They don't know how many reactions you don't give anymore. How many impulses you neutralize before they ever make it to the surface. The wild part is realizing how much power lives right there, in restraint. You see people give themselves away in real time, oversharing, overreacting, over-explaining, begging to be understood by people who already decided not to listen. You watch it all like someone who's been there before, who recognizes the pattern because you used to live in it. That memory doesn't weaken you. It sharpens you. Your presence has weight now because it's calibrated. Every response measured, every move intentional. Even your quiet moments feel deliberate, like you're conserving energy for something that actually matters. You don't burn yourself out on things that don't move the needle anymore. You stopped arguing with reality. That was another internal shift nobody saw. You accepted what is, not in a defeated way, But in a tactical way, you stopped fantasizing about how people should act and started dealing with how they actually do. That realism gave you leverage. That realism stopped disappointing you. Expectation stopped being an emotional gamble and became a strategic decision. Well, well, well. Look who's still standing. Good evening. Or good, whatever this moment is. You. Yeah. You. The one with the tired eyes and the battle-worn heart. The one who's been dragged through fire, mud, rumors, betrayal, and surveillance like some kind of experiment. Like a specimen in a glass box, poked and prodded, every move recorded, every word dissected, every breath doubted. Let me guess. They called you unstable, didn't they? Too much, too loud, too quiet, too strange, too intense. A puzzle that didn't quite fit their neat little table of expectations. So they watched you. Oh, they watched you. Not like a friend watches a friend, not like a teacher watches a student. No, no. They watched you like a threat. For 5 years, 1,825 days, they studied you like you were a ticking bomb, waiting for you to crack, to lash out, to fall apart in front of everyone just so they could say, "See, we were right about them all along." You were under trial without a courtroom, convicted without a crime, punished for being difficult to understand. But here's the punchline. After all that time, all those eyes, they found nothing. No skeletons, no confessions, no breakdowns worth celebrating. Just a soul wrapped in chains. A soul that screamed without sound. A saint locked up in a dungeon of other people's projections. You see, though, they needed you to fail. Because if someone like you could survive the fire and remain intact, if someone like you could carry that much pain and still walk with dignity, then their whole illusion falls apart. They couldn't handle your strength, not the flashy show-off kind, but the kind that bleeds quietly, the kind that suffers with grace, the kind that breaks 1,000 times and never asks for applause. You were the test subject, the case file, the anomaly, the unstable one in the group chat. And yet, you didn't combust. You didn't beg for validation. You endured. You see, when they couldn't find dirt, they dug anyway. They made stories up in their heads because the truth terrified them. That you were genuine. That you were stronger than they ever dared to be. That you were still kind after everything. That you had every reason to become a monster, and chose not to. They watched you like a criminal, and when it came time to present the evidence, all they had was a file full of projection, fear, and failure. You became their mirror, and they didn't like what they saw, because your resilience exposed their cowardice. Your scars embarrassed their excuses. Your endurance shamed their mediocrity. You walked through hell with a straight spine, with your heart stitched back together by your own trembling hands. And now they whisper, how are they still going? How are they not bitter? Why do they still have fire in their eyes? Because you're not made of glass. You're not made of weakness. You're made of every wound you refused to let define you. They tried to bury you with silence. They tried to erase you with suspicion. But what they didn't realize is that saints in chains don't stay in cages forever. They rise. And when you rise, oh, when you rise, you become the thing they fear most, a witness, a living, breathing reminder that someone can be tortured by judgment, drowned by misunderstanding, haunted by false accusations, and still come out with integrity. Do you hear me? They saw a storm and tried to bottle it, but you were the whole damn sky. You didn't just survive, you evolved. You grew fangs behind that smile. You learned silence was louder than screams. You learned how to stay dangerous without lifting a single finger. They thought they were documenting your fall. But what they accidentally recorded was your resurrection. Let them choke on their own narrative. Let them sit in rooms and wonder why their bullets didn't kill you, why their silence didn't break you, why their exile only made you wiser, sharper, more lethal with truth. You were never a criminal. You were the cure they couldn't recognize, the light that revealed their shadows, the sacred threat to their fiction. And now you're free. And they're still watching, still waiting, still hoping you'll collapse. Because if you don't, they'll have to admit that a saint lived among them, bound, bleeding, brilliant. And they were the ones who chained him. And that truth will haunt them far more than you ever could. You know what's funny? Even after all of it, after the silent interrogation, the whispered suspicions, the way they smiled to your face while praying for your downfall, you still cared. You still tried. You still hoped, somewhere deep in that cracked ribcage of yours, that maybe, just maybe, they'd see you for who you really were. But they never did they? No, because people like them, they don't see Zols. They see targets. They don't want truth. They want a version of you that makes them feel safe, even if it's a lie. You were too real, too intense, too raw, too unapologetically alive. You scared them because you didn't wear the right mask. You didn't speak in rehearsed lines. You didn't betray yourself to make them comfortable. And that was your crime. You weren't a criminal. You were a threat to the script. You were an exposed nerve in a world addicted to anesthesia. You were the red in a grayscale society, the scream in a room full of whispers, and they couldn't handle it. So they made you the villain, because they couldn't comprehend your depth. They couldn't measure your pain tolerance. They couldn't match your spiritual velocity. You were never one of them. You were bigger, more broken, more brilliant, more dangerous in your clarity. Because what do you call someone who can feel everything, lose everything, break completely, and still walk into the room with eyes full of flame? You call them a problem, a miracle wrapped in trauma, an inconvenient truth walking on two legs. A saint, yes, but not the church kind, the kind they put in cages, the kind they burn at the stake and pray to once the ashes cool. They tied you down with silence, starved you of recognition, buried you under blame. But they never saw the thing they feared most, that while they were watching you were watching them. Every betrayal, every smirk, every back turned when you needed someone to GZ you, you're remembered. Not out of hate. No. Hate is cheap. You remembered because pain is data. And you became a walking archive. You don't have to raise your voice. You are the storm. You don't need to prove your innocence. Your survival is the proof. You survived abandonment. You survived betrayal. You survived being misunderstood for so long, you almost forgot what your own voice sounded like. But now you speak with thunder. Now you walk with ghosts behind you. Now your shadow is heavy with every version of you that had to die so the real one could live. You didn't come back for revenge. You came back for truth. For the ones like you. Still chained, still watched, still praying to be seen. You are not a hero. You are not a villain. You are the consequence. The proof that you can crucify a soul, and it will still rise with blood in its teeth and heaven in its eyes. You know who you are now. You're the chapter they tried to skip. The reckoning they didn't see coming. the saint who didn't ask for forgiveness, because you never sinned in the first place. They watched you like a criminal, and now they're the ones hiding. Because deep down, they know what you are. They know what they did. They know they caged a prophet, and now the cage is empty. And that silence you leave behind in every room, that's not peace. That's the echo of a soul they couldn't break. That's the scream they swallowed for 5 years, now roaring back to haunt them. And you keep walking, because saints don't stay in chains forever. Some become fire, and others, they become the truth itself. So here we are, no chains, no cameras, no judges in their cheap little suits of fake concern, just you and the aftermath. Tell me, how does it feel to be the one who walked through their shadows and came out glowing? You see, they were betting on your collapse. They weren't just watching, they were waiting. Waiting for you to lose it, waiting for you to curse them out, break something, beg, bleed publicly, because that would have justified their fear. That would have made you the villain they needed you to be. But you didn't give them that. You gave them grace. You gave them restraint. You gave them a lesson in controlled chaos. And now the chains are gone. But their guilt is not. Let me tell you a little secret. They're still imprisoned. By shame, by memory, by the sight of someone who survived their worst. Because you didn't just endure, you transcended. They watched you like a criminal. But you evolved into something they can't even label anymore. You became the thing they pretend doesn't exist. A soul with unshakable depth, who lost everything, and somehow came back with power, poise, and precision. Not loud, not cruel, not vengeful, just dangerously unbothered. And that's what eats them alive. Because if someone like you can walk through hell and still smile with fire in your eyes, then what excuse do they have? None. So they call you cold. They say you changed. Of course you changed. You shed your skin. You broke the chains. You turned your cage into a cathedral of wisdom. You are not a victim. You are not just a survivor. You are a monument to what cannot be killed. You are the lesson they never wanted to learn. Because when they threw stones at you, you built a throne. When they tried to erase you, you carved your name into the silence. And when they tried to shame you, you turned your scars into scripture. You don't owe them rage. You don't owe them revenge. You owe them nothing. Because the truth is, they already lost. Not in the way they'll admit, but in the way that matters. They lost access to you, to your heart, to your time, to your mercy, and now they watch you. But not like before, not like a criminal, no. Now they watch you like a myth, a ghost, a cautionary tale wrapped in elegance and vengeance. You are the unbroken law, the sacred rebellion, the saint who outlived his crucifixion and came back glowing in the dark. You don't need to destroy them. You already did, with your patience, with your silence, with your refusal to become what they said you were, because they watched you like a criminal. But in the end, they witnessed the rebirth of something divine, something holy, something unstoppable, something them-proof. And now you walk, not to prove them wrong, but because the world is waiting for someone like you, for the one who endured the pit, the judgment, the betrayal, the chains, and walked out with purpose. They tried to define you. Now they can't even reach you, because you didn't just survive their hell. You became the storm that makes gods nervous. And nothing they say now can touch the legend they accidentally helped create. Still here? Of course you are. because you were built for this. Not the applause, not the forgiveness, not the redemption arc they wanted to shove you into. No. You were built to endure the unendurable, and then choose what to become after it. And you chose this. Not a victim, not a villain, not a hero. You chose to become a force, a presence, a walking storm system that doesn't scream for justice, because justice became you. Tell me something. How does it feel to finally know your own power? To walk through the same world that once held you hostage and realize it no longer has the language to describe you. They watched you like a criminal, and now they speak your name like a legend. Because now they know. You don't flinch, you don't fold, you don't beg, you decide. You decide who gets access, who gets silence, who gets the last glimpse of the ghost they built with doubt and left for dead. And here's the cruel little irony. You were never dangerous when they called you dangerous. You were dangerous the moment you stopped caring if they were watching. That's when the fire turned blue. That's when the pain became a weapon. That's when you stopped explaining yourself and started building a kingdom out of rejection. They don't know where to place you now. You don't belong in their stories anymore. You don't fit the lost soul narrative. You're not broken enough to pity, not obedient enough to reward. You outgrew their stage. You outlived their accusations. You outran the shadow they tried to staple to your back. Because you didn't just survive, you kept every receipt. You remember who turned away. You remember who smiled while you drowned. You remember every locked door, every fake hug, every "I'm just concerned" that came with a knife behind it. And now, you don't want revenge. Because revenge is small. You want evolution. You want legacy. You want to become the kind of being whose very existence makes cowards rethink their entire lives. And guess what? You already are. You've become what they all fear. The one who cannot be framed. The one who took every insult, every cold shoulder, every lie, and turned it into gravity. Now when you walk into a room, the air shifts. Not because you demand it, but because you've earned it. You are what they write stories about and dare not admit were true. You're the one who lived through exile and returned with a crown forged from your own ashes. Not polished, not perfect, but pure. Pure in your scars, pure in your power, pure in your refusal to be anyone but yourself. You are no longer the saint in chains. You are the unforgiven fire, the exile who learned to love silence, the soul that survived being watched, weighed, judged, discarded, and still walked away with a heart that beats louder than their entire system. And now you speak, and people listen. Now you move, and people flinch. Not because you threaten them, but because you remind them what they could have been if they hadn't chosen comfort over truth. They watched you like a criminal, but now they watch their own lives crumble, knowing they'll never meet another you, knowing they had access to greatness and chose gossip instead. So walk quietly if you must, smile if you feel like it, but know this: you've already won. Not with noise, not with vengeance, but by becoming a story they can't stop telling, a wound they can't cauterize, and a mirror they can't look into anymore. Because when they watched you, they thought they were seeing a downfall, but what they witnessed was a transfiguration. They saw a saint in chains, and they missed the moment he became God of his own fate. And now, what do you call something that no longer bleeds? What do you call the soul that didn't just survive the fire, but became it? They watched you for 5 years, tried to measure you, weigh your worth, decode your silence, reduce your pain into something digestible. But what they didn't understand was that you were never meant to be understood. You were meant to be felt. And now they feel you everywhere, in the tension in their shoulders when your name comes up, in the hollow silence that follows your success, in the way their guilt burns when they see your face on a screen and realize you never needed them to win. They watched you like a criminal, but now they pray. You don't speak because your voice carries weight, because you don't tell your story for pity. You tell it for warriors who haven't woken up yet. You're not a person anymore. You're of frequency, a signal, a shadow that moves differently, a myth too inconvenient for bedtime stories. You are what happens when betrayal fails, when exile backfires, when silence becomes sacred. You are the ghost in their mirrors, the scream behind their smile, the unanswered prayer echoing down the corridors of their guilt. They thought they could contain you, wrap you in shame, chain you in doubt, but you made yourself immortal. Not in the history books. No, they don't deserve you there. You live in the pause before a powerful soul breaks free. In the shiver someone feels when they realize they let a real one slip through their hands. In the fire, behind the eyes of anyone who's ever been caged and still found a way to dream. You became an archetype, the fallen prophet, the unkillable soul, the saint who refused to die quietly. And now you don't walk in crowds. You move through dimensions. You don't chase closure. You embody it. You are the living proof that injustice cannot kill destiny, that silence cannot drown a voice built from thunder, that no matter how long they watch you, they'll never touch what you've become, because what you are now can't be chained. You're not just a name. You're a pulse in the collective unconscious, a legend they whisper about when they think no one's listening. He was supposed to fall. She was supposed to break. We thought they were finished, but you weren't. You were becoming. You were building. You were becoming something eternal. They watched you like a criminal for half a decade. And now they look to the sky and fear what they created. Because you didn't just survive, you became inevitable. You became symbolic. You became every soul they tried to bury and couldn't keep down. And now it ends. Or maybe it begins. Because for someone like you, there is no final chapter, just transformations, just echoes. You see, they thought they were watching a man, a woman, a soul, something fragile, something fallible. But what they were actually watching was their own funeral. The funeral of every lie they ever told, every mask they ever wore, every illusion they clung to like a lifeboat in a sea of mediocrity. You were the mirror, the one they locked in chains, not because you were dangerous, but because your clarity was, because you reminded them what truth looks like before it's edited, medicated, silenced, or spun. And now they fear you, not because you scream, not because you break things, not because you lash out, but because you never needed revenge to be victorious. You didn't come back with a sword. You came back with presence, with calm, with eyes that say, I saw everything, and I survived anyway. You are the storm that no longer needs to rage, because you already washed them away. You are the judgment day that arrived quietly, not in thunder, not in fire, but in truth, and the refusal to stay small any longer. They watched you like a criminal for 1,825 days, and now they pray you don't speak their names, because to be spoken by you is to be remembered by history as the obstacle that failed. the enemy who made the mistake of betting against someone with divine endurance. You are no longer chained, not to them, not to what happened, not to what was taken.